Umatilla County Board of Commissioners, June 7, 2023 meeting to order, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I do want to remind everyone that today's meeting is also virtual, and can ask testimony. People can testify virtually. And so if you hear us ask for virtual testimony, that's what we're referring to here on the screen. This is a public meeting and is being recorded. And I would like to remind everyone that if you have comments on a subject that is not on the agenda, please limit those to 3 minutes. For the full agenda, anyone that does testify, please state your name clearly and your address clearly. So thank you. Awards, recognitions, and correspondence. Commissioner Timmons? I would like to take a minute to recognize our search and rescue. This is Search and Rescue Month in the United States, and we have probably the premier search and rescue volunteers of any county in the state. They get referred to and referenced and asked for help on a lot of different responses and projects and policies and procedures. And I would like to personally, and on behalf of the board, recognize the Umatilla County Search and Rescue and make sure that they are recognized and remembered during this month of search and rescues. So thank you to all of them. Approval of minutes of previous meetings. Do we have? No. We have no previous minutes in front of us. Any additions, changes, or deletions to the agenda?
There is one item that needs some further discussion by the board. It relates to the use of the fairground facilities for the other concert.
Yep. We'll make that item number 16.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Wow, he loud and clear like he's. I looked around.
I know. I was like, where is he?
It was very good. Okay, thanks, Doug. At this time, any public comments on any items that are not on the agenda? Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sunny Danforth, 225 Maple Avenue in Milton Freewater. I wanted to ask a question to find out about, I received an email regarding the preliminary request for Amendment 1 of Wheat Ridge Renewable Energy Facility East Site Certificate received by Oregon Department of Energy. And so on May 16th, Oregon Department of Energy received a preliminary request for an amendment, Amendment 1. This is huge. And truthfully, I'm just wanting to bring this to your attention and ask a question if you're our commissioners are aware of this, and if you are commenting on this. Because as the board for Umatilla County, this is a project that is in both Morrow County and Umatilla County. And something that got my attention when I received the email from Department of Energy is this facility is approved for 66 wind turbines. They want to increase it with 40 additional wind turbines. That's more than half. And they want to increase this also from a site a boundary of 4,582 acres up to 79,424 acres. This is a giant increase on just an amendment. Okay, so also 44, it's increasing the access roads, 44 miles of access roads for a total of 64. And it's a large ask for just an amendment on this. And so I wanted to, if you aren't aware of it, I wanted to ask about that.
For me, I am aware of it, and our land use department is aware of it and will be participating in the policy, in the process.
Okay, well, I ask that you, there is a deadline that, I don't know what the deadline is, but once there is a proposed order, there will be public comment period and a public hearing. And I really, and again, I don't know how much of this is coming into Umatilla County. I'm telling you my own ignorance on this, but I wanted to bring that to your attention and make sure that our county is aware of it and involved in the process, all three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments this morning? All right, then, let's jump right into our agenda. And the first item is Nolan Hills Wind Project. And I think Dave was going to be the speaker for this group. We are asking you to hold it to 15 minutes. We have a large agenda today, but please, Dave.
Yes. I'm just going to provide the...
Name and address first.
Dave Price.
Sorry.
80488 Zerba Road, Athena. I'm just going to provide an introduction to this subject for the group, because there's quite a few people here that would like to speak, and I don't want to take up any more time than I should. And so let me start off on this Nolan Hills thing, and of course it's a familiar topic to all of us, and we've been talking about it now for well over a year. And I want to start out this thing by a saying that was given to me by my forest supervisor years ago. And he said, if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. And that applies to this situation. It is not easy. And the commissioner's job is not easy. And there are difficult decisions, and it certainly applies in this case. Now, on this thing, first thing I want to do is to make sure that the BMA, myself, and the other citizens of this county extend our thanks to the commissioners for doing your job. And it's been a tough job. And it's been a job that, if you get to the bottom line, it's really totally unnecessary. And that you can't understand what's going on because the legal basis and everything for this has been thrashed out many years ago. And you're just, everybody's just kind of confused as to what the heck is this all about. Because if you look at the process, and first of all, the county did an excellent job on their special advisory group letter submitted to FSEC in May of 22. Excellent job, good points, everything, which was later totally discredited by the judge. But you did that part, you did your job. And then after that, when a decision was issued, a proposed order was issued by FSEC, it specifically attacked the local authority of this county. In other words, there's an ordinance, and we don't like it, and we're going to ignore it. And that's what started this whole thing off. Now, I don't want to take up too much time on this, but I would say one thing for sure. DOE, Department of Energy, FSEC group, has totally lost track of what the purpose of the government is and how it was designed. They have totally lost track of that. And if you want to be convinced of that, read the decision by the administrative law judge, which is 35 pages. Read that decision. They should be embarrassed by that decision. There are many legal flaws in it. There are many omissions in it. And it is really a shoddy piece of work. Now, that has precipitated the fact that the county is in the contested case, but now it's precipitated the fact that you have to meet the deadline and file for an exception. And you did that, or you are doing that. And I want to say thank you. That's what we appreciate. That is your job. Thank you very much. Now, on this thing, this system, the government system, is basically set up that the land use plan is an umbrella. It's broad, general guidance at a state basis. It is intended that the counties and each county is different, that the counties go through the process of developing a plan which you could say is a how-to plan. And this county did that. This county has done that. They've revised it. Everything's been right up to snuff the whole time. The county is right on the ball on that. And so I guess to end my opening remarks here is first of all, it is very difficult to understand why is Department of Energy attacking the county's local authority. I don't know. They shouldn't be. This is a case that we really should not even have to talk about, let alone spend valuable time and resources in trying to defend it. So now I'll close my opening remarks and we'll open this up to this group here so they can come and tell you their personal views. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Sunny Danforth, 225 Maple Avenue, Milton Freewater. So, this is actually, what we're here today is not about Nolan Hills project. It is about the county's right to uphold their ordinances, and that the state must follow that, because we're in our 50th year that we're having land use codes, and we have been burdened by the state to have that. Our county is allowed to have more stringent codes than the state in citing energy projects and many other things. And yet the state has, in this decision that's not truly by a judge, is that we don't have to follow that. The state can override what the county ordinances are. This is larger than this project. This is about our having rule of law, following the ordinances that are in place, and we're a nation of laws doing that as well. And so the state has, so we must follow the ordinances. As well, I've missed my point there. So our ordinance is 152.616 HHH, which is a 2-mile setback for wind turbines. And the state has said, we don't need to comply with that. And we must follow with the Supreme Court, and we'll win. There's case law on this. In fact, Blue Mountain Alliance, which is a local group of people, took a project to the Supreme Court, and we won on the 2-mile setback for health and welfare. There is case law that will win this. It is not the decision. This is stronger than the decision of one person saying, well, no, we're not going to grant you a contested case. So I ask that you take this to the Supreme Court. In fact, have you filed anything to do a review or what? of the decision that came?
Yeah, we filed to have it reviewed.
Okay, thank you.
Which is the next step in the
Thank you,
process.
okay. And then, because truly, what this is, the state says that we must follow the OARs and the county must. I say we, and meaning the county must. But the state has decided they are not going to follow their own ordinances because it has already been, the local and land use standards are the applicable substantive criteria. So thank you very much. I'll give my time to someone else.
Thank you.
Granella Thompson, 51949 Johnson Road, Weston, Oregon. And I'm extremely frustrated with the attitude that's prevalent in the whole country among government bureaucrats and some politicians, that if we don't like a law, we ignore it and do what we want. And somebody might object, we can drag it out and get our way, and it can be tied up in lawsuits for years. And the attitude that our rights don't matter and our very freedoms don't matter. And I don't want to see that us get rolled with that attitude in Umatilla County. I want to help in any way I can to protect us. And I ask that you do that too. I did expect this out of Salem. I don't think that's a real trustworthy group down there, but now it's come a little closer to home than I had hoped. The first shock on such a subject was when laws that protect prime farmland, so designated as exclusive use, all of a sudden could be developed for energy companies, and the rule of law changed suddenly for that politically correct reason. We have set law in place 50 years ago, and the land use laws that the state set up were guidelines. Local entities set up planning commissions. Now, in 1977 and 78, well, I moved out of town, so that's why I was off. I served on the West End Planning Commission. It wasn't, planning had not gone very far at that time. And so I saw what local groups could do. They were to advise, but it involved the community and the public through that. Umatilla County residents gathered petitions. And then the state must respect and follow guidelines that were set by local entities. Umatilla County residents gathered petitions and held hearings and fought all the way to the Supreme Court to keep wind towers from being placed closer than 2 miles to a residence. We fought because of cases such as towers being placed just across a fence from a house whose residents got nothing for it other than a whole lot of noise in what was a peaceful place. Their houses vibrated. I looked into that because they wanted to put them behind my house, but it was my land, so I could say no. But the houses were vibrating. That we talked to people who lived next to them. Their animals stopped eating really good when the wind turbines were turned a certain way and the noise flooded down into that area. But if the animals were close enough to feel the vibrations, they didn't thrive, and their own health was damaged, and their house dropped tremendously in value because nobody wanted to buy that. So the property rights of one person are collided with the damage done personally to another. That's why we started the fight. And now the rule is being thrown aside because the state has decided to place a wind tower in Umatilla County within that 2-mile setback and just see if anyone can stop them, and has the fight for the welfare, or has the fight for the welfare of rural residents when the money is good to the landowners and to government tax collectors. The law needs to be protected and fought for. The people of Umatilla County who live in the county need to be fought for. The commissioners are the ones that need to do the fighting, and I know that you are going into the process, but we don't want you to stop. We want you to take it all the way. We want to be protected on this because you're not just fighting for Umatilla County in a way, but for every county or city in the state that has a local code that is stronger than the state one. If they get away with this, every single code statewide, it can just be thrown aside at will and when it's inconvenient to the power brokers in Salem. So I strongly recommend the good use of a good land use lawyer and take it as far as it needs to go, and we'll do anything we can to help fight that fight. Thank you.
Other comments?
Debbie?
Go ahead, Ryan.
So, Ryan Stoner, 60925 Highway 204, Weston, Oregon. So in 2008, we started an effort to protect our county from the energy development that we saw coming in. This group of people, along with several others, got together, the county, we worked with the tribes, other nonprofit organizations, and I myself have thousands of hours into that document that set the rules aside for wind development in Umatilla County. We collected over 3,200 signatures, which was the largest in Umatilla County at that time. And that was just the people we could get to help develop these codes and standards for energy development in Umatilla County. After all the time and development went into place, we went to the Supreme Court. We've had multiple times with run-ins with wind energy development. We've won and proven we can win at the Supreme Court. And previous case law has already established that showing local jurisdiction is supposed to supersede big government. We're not supposed to be told by Salem, Portland what we do in our county. Local jurisdiction should decide how we want our county developed. And we've had this fight before. We know we can win. There's an administrative judge on that 35-page document. I didn't see a ton of legal jargon. I actually saw mostly a political agenda. And I think if we go to a judge in the Supreme Court in a real environment, we'll win, just like we've done previously. I think we should go forward with the process to appeal this and move on. And I think we have high odds of winning. We set these sides of rules, and Ron Brown has a great background, but I'll never forget in 2008 when we had the tribes and all these local organizations come together, and the wildlife that was protected, how we set aside our view sheds and protected the counties with the setbacks. And I think we need to move forward to keep encroachment on our citizens. And I think our group is willing to offer up resources, our attorney, money, whatever it would take to help with that. We've already paid and funded this effort once before as private citizens and out of our own pocket, and all the money has already been spent and thousands of hours. I know you guys weren't in these positions then, but we've had 4 or 5 years meeting, hundreds of meetings and hours to support this effort. And all the hard work and money has already been spent. This is very minimal just to go appeal this compared to all the years that we've done previously. This is very minor compared to what we've already been through and spent to get to where we're at. And I just hate to see us lose it now. And that's all.
Thank you. Other comments?
Can I just double dip a second?
Sure.
I would like to offer up Daniel Kearns. He's an awesome land use attorney. There's only about 4 in the state. Daniel Kearns has represented Blue Mountain Alliance. He is fabulous. Offer him up. And I personally am willing to kick in $5,000 if I've got to help out the county to fight and take this to the Supreme Court. I know today I see you have your budget hearing coming up, and we've got a hefty budget, and we have a lot of money set aside. We also have a lot of energy projects and data projects that we are getting money from. I think we should use their money to fight this. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
Norm Krallman, 52151 Fruitvale Road, Milton Freewater. I wanted to, for sake of time that we have, I prepared a written testimony that I'm going to just turn over to you, which will save some time and easier for me to speak. But I was part of the original group 16 years ago when Ryan Stoner and Richard Jolly came into my office, and they started talking about wind energy at that time, and I had no idea as a public servant what was going on out there. And so for 15 years, mostly certainly the last 10 years after 2008 when Ryan spoke, we spent, as Ryan said, I'm repeating again, thousands and thousands of hours, thousands of dollars personally, and court hearings and lawyers and everything else. And I'm so proud of the fact that these people stood up and came forward when the time was needed to have the 2-mile setback. Now, there was a lot of other issues that were not served, which needed to be served. And one of the reasons I brought this document, I copied the Range magazine article that I really enjoyed maybe you've seen it. But if you're uneducated at all about wind energy, whether it's in the Sand Hills of Nebraska or whether it's in Umatilla County or Morrow County or whatever, this article tells excellent history on how that is and the problematic sides, the good sides and the problematic sides. So if you're not informed, their whooping grain and our golden eagles suffer the same consequences, and that is being killed wantedly. And I've never understood how we can have permits given to a bird that is protected nationally and statewide. I've never understood that, how you can justify giving kill permits for those kind of birds. But that's part of this article. So I'll just leave it at that and encourage you to read this document. I'll give it to you.
Sure, I can take care of it.
Thank you, Norm.
Is there enough? Did I get enough?
She's more responsible than we are, so.
Is there enough?
Yes, there is.
One more?
Nope, I got enough.
You're all right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Norm. Other comments?
Ron Brown, 84160 Winesap Road. So I want to give an example of what's happening here. This year, I was asked to be on the Division 10 rules for the state of Oregon to change and revamp all of the water law that's been in place since the beginning of time. How did the state handle that? They redlined everything and said, we're going to start over. Now, think about starting over when you have 1888, 1889 water rights, senior water rights. This is just another example of the legislature. This, to me, is all, somebody said it well, politics, to do things from Salem and not locally. And we fought in that to maintain and keep every current law we could and still follow the rules that they asked us to do, because it was asked to be done 20 years ago and the legislature dragged their feet until now. The basalts are dropping, the river's going to get divided up many more ways than just the farmers who have 70% of that water. This is exactly what they're trying to do from the energy side. We have a transmission line that follows that river, and we fought like hell to keep them out of there because of the highly erodible land. We went through ESA to keep 200 miles of road out of there that was going to put soil into that river when we had given up 30% of our water as farmers to clean that whole system up and have fish going down the river. This is a foothold, if we don't stop it, into them going right back into the Blue Mountains and starting over. And they won't give us the opportunity from a local level if this gets passed. I'm very passionate about this because I know I've grown up in Milton Freewater. I've lived there. I ran a business there, a fairly large business, actually the largest apple production facility in the state of Oregon, and worked with the tribes, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, NOAA, sat down at the table, and we came up with agreements. And then it turned to the Blue Mountains. I joined this alliance to stop them from putting towers up in the most beautiful area that we have, the foothills of the Blues. And so, truly, commissioners, and I know you guys, we need to stop the top-down things that are happening in the state of Oregon, and people that are just bypassing the rules that we already have. Now, if we need to change those, then we change them from a local level. The state can't change them for us. Every county's different, same with the water issues. Every county's different. And so we gotta hold tight on that. And if it takes, money from local people to do it, I think we can find it. So thank you for your time.
I
you.
probably owe you an apology. You're on the Division 10 rules because of me, so.
Oh, well, thank you.
So Umatilla County at that point had 0 representation on that committee, and I threw a fit and fell in it. And OWRD went out, reached out to you and asked you to be on it. So that was my fault. I apologize.
You know what? I enjoyed it because they need to hear from the local people.
Agreed. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
You're welcome.
Any other, thank you, Marlene.
Always, always. I'm his neighbor, and I joined this fight in 2008 when I saw them coming for the blues. And I'm not going to read what I got because they already said it, but it's imperative that we save this land. All I'm going to say is we elected you as our commissioners. I'm Marlene McClintock from 85175 Highway 339 in Milton Freewire. We elected you as our commissioners to stand and represent us. Now you must fight for all of the citizenry, especially the landowners in this county. But you can't win if you don't try. You've got to fight. And this issue is has huge ramifications throughout the state. Not now, but into the future, because we have so much to lose. So I encourage you to stand and fight, and we will fight with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, everyone, for your comments today.
Oh.
Could you turn this in? Could I please turn this in?
Yes.
My name's Deborah Lee. I know all of you. Well, Dan, I've talked to you. Anyway, I'm from 85045 Hawthorne Lane, Milton Freewater. Our farm is on Dry Creek, Oregon, where there's a Dry Creek International Airport even in our neck of the woods. And our farm, in the early 70s, my Uncle Jack Chapin fought along with Tom McCall and other farmers in Oregon for our land use laws, and they've been good ones, and they need to be upheld. And just chipping away and eroding our really good land use laws really makes me mad. And number 2, it's very disappointing. And number 3, it makes me sick, because we shouldn't even, like whoever said this, Dave, we shouldn't even have to be talking about this. We should just say, closed case. This isn't going to happen in Umatilla County, period. And we just filed, just this last month, well, May 1, our farm is now 150 years. We're wanting to be awarded the 150, I can't say it, sesquicentennial award. And we're very proud of that. It took me 2.5 months to put the thing together to prove our land ownerships from 1871 till now. And we're very proud of that. We love where we live. We love the animals where we live. We love the peace of where we live. We love the beauty of where we live. Milton Freewater, who said it? Ron, I think, that it's the most, I'm biased, I know, but I used to be the county agent here. I drove all over the heck and gone here. And I'm just going to tell you that Milton Freewater has the most beauty of the whole county, other than maybe Ukiah. And we have the most valuable land. Our land is fertile. We have diversified agriculture. We have agribusiness. We have value-added agriculture. And we need to sustain that and not give it away and not drive people away because of the stupid towers that these people want to put in close to people's houses, interfering with our right to farm. So that's my, yes. And it's just my information, and I want you to know it, and you can tell I'm passionate about it. I want to protect Oregon. My family, nine branches of my family came on the Oregon Trail here from 1847 on, and 2 others were sort of related to me. So that's 11. And my husband's family came in 1867. So we have been here a while, and we love it here. And one of the values of Umatilla County is our beauty, and what we can use as it to bring people in and take their money and send them away. So that's my version of it. And here's I wrote all this crap down so you guys can have it, and you can trade it off back and forth. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Dorn, is there anybody on the line that wants to comment?
I'll look in a minute, but I have one right behind you.
Arla Ruthven, 84547 Weiss Road, Milton Freewater. I've been on that road off and on for 88 years. I'm another one here that goes back into the late 1800s in Umatilla County. We're very proud of our county. We're proud of you county commissioners. We've been proud of you in all the past that helped us years ago for this project. And like everybody said behind me, we went out and we got over 3,000 voters to sign up against these wind machines that have done so much damage to our lives. And we've worked so hard. We do have a beauty. We have an excellent beauty, and we fought for that beauty, and we're going to keep fighting for it. And we want you guys to fight too. And it goes way back, you guys. We want our land. And you know, I remember when these went in Arlington. I remember the accidents that happened along our highways because of distraction. I remember people in Milton Freeway that live out at west of Umatilla that they're sitting underneath them. And I remember people moving from Portland to get out of Portland and to come to our beautiful area and then have them built right up on them. We have to fight, you guys. And just like politics now, I mean, people want us to go to Idaho. We don't want that. We want our county. We want our state.
Thank you. And seeing none
We
online,
do, I think, we do have one.
who, where's that?
Les Pool,
Oh,
top
okay.
right there.
Les, can you hear us? Les?
He just took his hand down, so maybe he's getting
okay.
close.
Well, we're,
No, it's back up.
we were running.
So the mute button, Les, is on the bottom of your screen. It looks like a red circle with a microphone slash. I don't know if you can see that. Try pushing that one.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and move on to the agenda.
Real quick, I
wait.
want to say a couple things.
Oh, sure, comments.
So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. It's a long drive under any circumstances, but it's even more so right now with all the road construction. So, and that's not lost on me because, as many of you know, my wife works in Walla Walla. I hear about it every day. So, but thank you for coming. And obviously, we're going to have to make a decision when it gets time to, do we go forward to the Supreme Court or not? Obviously, we can't make a decision today without having that discussion. But so a lot of times we haven't really been answering some of those emails because when you send an email to all of us, we can't really reply to that email because that becomes an illegal meeting. That being said, and Doug could probably correct me if I said that wrong, but that being said, I can't say how I'm going to vote, but I will tell you when I first campaigned for commissioner, this issue was one of the things that I was asked about routinely in Milton Freewater a lot. And I made a promise then, and I'm going to uphold my promise now. That's as close as I'm going to say about how I'm going to vote. But that being said, again, thank you all for coming today. That really means a lot to me that you're here. So,
Thanks, John. Commissioner Timmons?
Yes, I wanted to, Ann, did you have anything to say?
Well, I'm not a public speaker, actually. But, let's see.
I just think it's important that everybody that, took the time and effort to come down here should be heard. And I know we have a big agenda today, but I think we're here to listen to the people of our county. So I think and same with you, Klaus. If you have something to say, I'd certainly like to hear it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Ann Jolly. I live at 225 Maple Avenue in Milton Freewater. And as many that are here, I was with Blue Mountain Alliance at its inception, and have contributed as I could, financially and with whatever help I could have. Because how this goes in our county affects every county in the state. And that's foremost with me. And I would like you to consider Mr. Kearns as a knowledgeable land use attorney. And I myself will help out Blue Mountain Alliance with finances, because that is an issue. But we have accomplished this already, even to the state Supreme Court. And it's my personal belief that if you will be courageous and go to the Supreme Court on behalf of everybody, that we will win. And so if we don't go and try, as someone mentioned, we can't do anything. And that, it takes courage. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Does speak very highly of Mr. Kearns, by the way, so.
Klaus Hona, 78061 Lupin Lane, Weston. When I was made aware of this, I've talked to some of my neighbors up in our area on Weston Mountain. And of course, when they heard what was going on, a lot of people aren't informed. They either ignore it or whatever. And once you explain things to them, then suddenly the green light goes on and they say, whoa, what are our commissioners doing? And I said, well, they're in support of covering our bases here, and we're going to try to talk to them and try to convince them to go to the Supreme Court if that's what it takes on this issue. So I think what I want to say is that people are appreciative of your involvement, and they really stand by your decision on this, and we hope that you'll take the proactive approach because it is precedent setting. I agree with everything that was said prior to this, and I can't do a better job of reiterating those facts. So hats off to y'all, and I just pray that you'll strongly consider fighting this all the way to the Supreme Court.
Thank you.
Get everybody?
Any comments?
Did Mr. Ruthven, did you want to say something?
Pretty well been covered.
Okay,
Comments?
thank you.
I've said my comments,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here today. Let's move on with our agenda. The first thing on the agenda is the transit development plan.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bob Walder, Community Development Director. I'll go ahead and present this agenda item since Megan's away at a training this week, but Umatilla County recently completed a transit development plan, which is intended to take a look at existing transit infrastructure in Umatilla County and then also plan for future growth and funding opportunities. And so I know Megan's met with you about this project on numerous occasions, so I won't elaborate much, but we are seeking the Commissioner's approval on this. It has been recommended for approval by our Transit Committee back in May, I believe.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt order BCC 2023-025.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item on our agenda is the audit presentation. So Robert, Cameron, and Dean.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Paul, CFO. Barnett & Morrow's recently completed the audit of our June 30th, 2022 financial statements, and Cameron Anderson is here to give a little presentation and answer questions if you have any.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Cameron.
Hi, Commissioners. Cameron Anderson with Barnett & Morrow in Hermiston, 975 Southeast 4th Street. As Robert said, we recently completed the audit for June 30th, 2022, which you have copies of. I'll just highlight a couple items in the report. It's a fairly lengthy report because it has all of the funds of all of the county programs and everything in it. So, but on page 6 is our independent auditors report. Second paragraph down is kind of the goal of the audit. It says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects of the respective modified cash basis financial position of the governmental activities and so forth. So basically, our opinion from our audit is that these financial statements are materially correct based on the underlying transactions. And we, in order to get that opinion, we do tests of transactions, third-party confirmations, various audit procedures to get to that point. Page 11 is basically the statement of net position as of June 30th, 2022. Total cash in Umatilla County was about a little over $66 million. We have some pension assets, or we actually have an asset that offsets the pension liability that's reported there, or the bonds, I should say. The bonds get reported as well. Total net position of the county is $120 million, which includes about $53 million of fixed assets. So the difference between the total net position and the cash are basically net assets. So. Page 12 shows the increase in the net position over the year with revenues and expenses. So for the June 30, 2022 year, the change in net position, your cash balance, he says went up about $13.7 million. You know, so you brought in more cash than you spent, which was expected due to the increased revenues from COVID and other energy agreements. So I will jump to page 15. There's kind of two parts of the financial statements. Page 6 and 7 are page 11 and 12 are the overall, include fixed assets and debt. The governmental fund financial statements starting on page 15. Starting on page 13, going through 15, is basically just the fund financial statements on a cash basis. So no fixed assets, no debt are reported there. So, you know, if you're looking at, you know, the cash position for the combined general of the public works, page 15 at the bottom, the combined general had about 28 million at the end of June 30, 2022. Public works had about 8 million. And then the other governmental, that's the source of that is all in the back of the report. So, and it just kind of flows forward. So, sure, yeah, absolutely.
A couple real quick. Bob or Robert, culture and recreation, that would represent Harris Park. Is that?
Harris Park and probably, if I remember correctly, extension falls into that.
Okay.
In the fair.
Oh,
In the fair.
in the fair.
County fair.
So if whatever assets they have would roll into that, or is that
Are you on page 15?
12?
12. Yeah, so the expenses for the culture and recreation are 1.8 million.
Okay.
Right, and then the revenues are in that line, 1.5, and then a little bit of grant money.
Okay,
So
so the increase over the year is the additional money for Harris Park, I imagine.
well, on these pages, it's not broken out by.
No, I was going off the last year's too.
Oh, okay.
Because it was a note from line from last.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'd have to go back and compare.
I'm assuming it matches up really well to that additional money that moved from Public Works to the park through the.
Yeah, that would add some impact.
Okay. I just wanted, and then on the fixed assets, I didn't do the year over year. Is that pretty close to the same?
Fixed assets hasn't changed much.
Okay. I didn't look at that before.
There's a slight amount of depreciation each year off of that, but fixed assets
Yeah, so if,
don't change a lot unless we finish a major project, which finished the jail this year, so that's gonna add something to that, going forward.
yeah, so page 35 has a breakdown
Okay.
of fixed assets.
Gotcha.
Beginning fixed assets was about 55.3 million, ending's about 43.5. So you added some, but then depreciation
That's kind of
takes it down. Yep. So,
Got it. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, so then there's notes. I will, back on starting on page 156, we have we have a report that gets reported to the state of Oregon based on, whether or not the county is in agreement with various ORSs. So there's a letter back there. We did have one comment this year on the top of page 58. Says they complied with all Oregon revised statutes, with the exception of the county's investment in the Oregon local government investment pool was almost 69 million. And there's actually a limit for there's a limit built into the ORSs that you can't invest more than a certain amount. And so the county was actually over that amount, which we've talked to Robert, and my understanding is.
He already has a program in place.
Yeah, no, I think that's been remedied. So.
Yeah, because the independent investments were authorized.
Right.
Yeah. He brought that very close.
Yep. And then the rest is the single audit. Last couple pages of the report is our single audit for federal awards. Bottom line is no findings on any federal programs or anything like that. The only real finding that we had was the ORS, the LGIP. So overall, a clean audit. Thanks Robert and his team for getting us the information. It's a little bit later than what we would hope for due to various reasons. And Robert and I have already talked about steps that we need to take to remedy that for this next upcoming audit. So any other questions for me?
I have a question.
Sure.
Where did you do your testing? Did you go through and do sample testing in different departments? Can you tell me where you did a couple of those?
So we basically start with all your cash distributions. And I mean, we do revenue testing, we do payroll testing. So we basically test the controls over the finance department.
And those are pretty standard with all of your audits?
Yes.
So you don't have anything that you just randomly pick?
I mean, I guess.
Areas that you just randomly pick to test?
So in some regards, the federal awards, we do have to do additional testing on some of the federal programs. But as far as departments, all the departments are kind of in that one system of controls that we test.
So we give him a list of all of all the checks, basically all the checks we've issued during the year and all the cash receipts we've had during the year. And they do a random sampling of those, and we give them copies of all the documentation that we have for each of those purchases or receipts. And they verify that they are what they say they are.
Right, and that they're posted in the correct
And then they
accounts.
also do additional testing for certain large items and for any, you know, capital assets that we might purchase.
We confirm the debt that gets paid and,
It was the random sampling. That was what I was
Oh.
curious about. Just,
yeah, because we can't look at every transaction, so we test the control. So basically, if there's an invoice, has it been approved? Does it match that the check cleared the bank? You know, is it posted to the right account? You know, so we kind of get an idea if that process, based on that sampling, appears to be working properly, and then we can base our opinions, you know, kind of extrapolate that out. And then we also test the balance sheet items, so we reconcile cash, debt, you know, so. Yep.
I guess the only other thing is that major changes next year, as you're more than well aware of, with the software package and how we move forward.
Right.
So it may be retraining for all of us all over again when it comes to an audit.
Sure. Hopefully be easier.
That's a theory.
Yep.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Cameron, Barnett, and Morrow for all the work on this. Any other comments from you guys?
Just congratulations, Robert, Marie, Savannah. Fantastic job. I know that was a huge undertaking, and clean audit, that's huge. Congrats. Well done.
All right, thanks.
So at this time, I'll open up this meeting to a public hearing, and at this time,
Community corrections. I have a community corrections purchase.
I don't have that. Let me see. Public hearing. No. Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is community corrections. Replacement of an AC unit.
Morning, Commissioners. Dale Primer, Director of Community Corrections, 4705 Northwest Pioneer Place. I don't know if you recall, but our building out there was built in 1997. It has, I believe, 6 different zones for heat pumps. I was out there looking at them this morning. It looks like 2 are still original to the building, and one of which is at a spot where it's no longer within its ability to be repaired, continues to leak, and one whole half of the building is either hotter than you can imagine, or then they recharge it and we're standing outside to warm up. So bottom line is it needs to be replaced. We've got a quote from Pendleton Electric to the tune of almost $8,000, $13 shy of that. Pendleton Electric has been the agency that has serviced our building since inception. And so it's time to replace, and based on the look of them, it's probably not too awful long, and I'll be back here doing it again for the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move for payment.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, Dale.
Okay, appreciate you guys.
Supposed to be 90 some odd degrees today.
Well, they recharged it here, and now it's colder than hell in there, but they can't. It just seeps from everywhere. And anyway,
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open a public hearing on budget. On a public hearing on budget to adopt order number 2024-01 that'll be presented by Robert Paul.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Paul, CFO. Before you today is the opportunity to approve the budget for our 23-24 fiscal year beginning July 1st. The budget was compiled and reviewed by the Budget Committee in April and approved with a few minor changes. Those changes are reflected in the numbers in your budget order, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Questions?
I don't.
Okay. Any folks in the audience that are opposed to the budget as presented? Seeing none, anyone in the audience in favor of the budget as proposed? Seeing none, anyone neutral on the 2024 budget?
To speak on it.
To speak on it.
Yeah.
Are you opposed to it?
No.
Just check.
The way you were saying it, it's almost like they were voting on it.
All right. At this time, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd move adoption of Budget Order 2024-01.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'd also like to thank the whole finance department, the team coming forward with this, but also the department heads all throughout the county that helped bring their budgets forward, and the teamwork that put this package together. Thank you guys very much. There's nothing easy about it. Next item is the Solid Waste Committee appointment. The terms for David Fox and Arnie Swanson on the Solid Waste Committees have expired. They are willing to be reappointed and have been recommended for appointment by by Gina and Bob. What's the wishes of the commissioners?
I move to adopt order number BCC 2023-026.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is insurance.
Jennifer Blake, Human Resources Director for Umatilla County. Before you today is a request for the Commissioners to accept the 23-24 renewal of medical and dental insurance with Pacific Source, with a 4% increase to the medical plan and a 0% increase to the dental plan.
Every time I hear that, it amazes me.
Yes, it's really awesome.
Same.
What's the wishes?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we accept the 23-24 rate increase of 4% for medical and 0% dental as proposed with Pacific Source for renewal of health, vision, and dental insurance coverages.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You're still here? Or still?
I can do the SAIF Payable.
Yep.
Sure. Before you today is a request to approve the renewal of our worker compensation insurance with SAIF Corporation. The payable to SAIF in the amount of $199,913.83 needs to be paid before the end of the month in order to receive the discounts.
I'm all for discounts.
I just have a quick question. Doug, since I'm on their board, do I need to recuse myself on this one, or am I okay? So with that, I will recuse myself, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for renewal of workers' compensation insurance with SAIF Corporation.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to approve a payable to SAIF in the amount of $199,913.83.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That brings us to the HR contract.
So before you is a request for Human Resources to enter a contract with Lexipol Local Government Administration for policy manual and management for a first year cost of $21,834.35.
Thank you, Jennifer. And as somebody, and I know John has probably even more history, but seeing Lexipol at the sheriff's office, I think it's a great transition. I think it's one of our goals is to move the county forward, and I think this is a huge step. Thank you for all your work in putting this together.
I think the real work will begin.
Yeah. What's wishes?
Okay. I move to approve contract with Lexipol Local Government Administration for policy manual and management for the cost of $21,834.35.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 As Gordon Graham would say, if it's predictable, it's preventable.
Thank you.
Could we,
Next.
can we skip on the agenda 1 and do the CBA
Nine.
ratification?
Okay.
11.
Well, that's on you guys' screen, not on mine.
Turn around.
I can't read that far. Okay, collective bargaining agreement with UCLEA.
So before you request to authorize the signing of the collective bargaining agreement for UCLEA through June of 2026, we received word that the labor unit ratified this agreement last night.
Like again, my comment is thank you to the bargaining teams, all the work, all the time you put into that. I think the agreement worked out extremely well. So thank you.
Okay. I move to ratify and authorize signing of the collective bargaining agreement with UCLEA through June 30th, 2026, including salary schedule.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, Jen. So let's go back to the sheriff's office purchase. The purchase of an ice machine.
Lieutenant Dustin Erickson, Sheriff's Office, 4700 Northwest Pioneer Place. So we went out and got a quote from Ledbetter's for a new ice machine for our kitchen. It's not only used for our kitchen and an important piece for our medical services, it's also a huge piece for our medical services and our medical department as well. The current ice machine has been there longer than I've been there, so it's pretty old. It's over at least probably over 20 years, and it's beyond repair. So we would like to we would like to seek approval on the purchase of an ice machine, new ice machine, to get that back up and functioning.
I understand. My question is, how many quotes did you get? I ask it every time. And then how long is the warranty for the machine?
I'm not sure.
I believe that was the only quote that Brandon actually got it. He's been on vacation, so I can't ask him. The reason the price was over $5,000 too, because that included them coming out to install and every other.
And then, do you guys know what the warranty is on
I don't. I believe it was a couple of years.
it? Yeah, other comments?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. That was gonna be my question too. Did you get more than one quote? And then what does it take to install it?
So the breakdown on the proposal, the actual ice machine itself was $4,449.15 with a water purifier included with an additional $278. Truck and freight $200, and labor for install and setup was $5, which came to the total of $5,472.15.
I know that we're working on purchasing policies and we'll get those, but seeing just one quote is kind of tough. I know you're in a jam. But sure would have been better to see more than one quote on this for sure.
Is the other ice machine not working at all?
Non-functional, non-repairable.
How long is it going to take to get this one?
They had an ETA of the end of May for the machine, so it sounds like it happened rather quickly.
So it's already
Have you already got it?
No, we don't have it yet.
You said end of May.
Well, they said ETA that they could have it
okay.
done based on when we got approval.
Got it. Okay. What's the wishes?
To clarify, that's not May of next year.
No, that was just based on their proposal on the quote.
Sure.
That they could be ready by then.
Okay, so it would be a quick turnaround.
It would be a quick turnaround. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Okay. But I'm gonna say publicly that I'm with Dan on this. I mean, I think we need to get more than one.
Absolutely.
You know, I just think that's important. Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is, where are we now?
Sale of grader.
Sale of the grader. I'm not gonna get up and walk around to the podium because Tom's not here, but there was a wreck on Edwards and Baxter that we had to go to, but I think we had discussion on this. The staff meeting, this is something that's been done before by the road department. They're selling a used grader for $160,000 to Baker County. You want to?
I was just getting ready to make a motion. Mr. I'd move approval of the sale, what you just said.
Okay. I'll second it. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye.
It just dawned on me, you probably wanted to make that motion. Is that what I thought you were trying to speed me along, then it dawned on me, you probably wanted to make that motion.
It's kind of one of the last of that brand of graders that we have, which is good. Next one is maintenance payable drywall.
Morning, Commissioners. Mark Tanner, Facilities Manager, Umatilla County. So before you, if I could get it in order, is the drywall payable for the Community Corrections Facility in Hermiston. This will be reimbursed by Community Corrections. This is $7,500.
You already took away my question. I was gonna make sure it wasn't on to general fund, but you're.
No, it's been reimbursed.
Mr. Chair, I move approval to pay Norton Construction in the amount of $7,500.
Second.
And just my comment is this falls under what we authorized originally, right, on the construction?
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. This item on the agenda is a maintenance payable.
Same with this. This is all the flooring material for the same facility. Be reimbursed by Community Corrections for $17,780.03.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How are we coming along on that building, Mark? Is it close to being done or?
Probably looking at a month. So HVAC, electrical is 98% done. Drywall paint is done. Plumbers are finished. We have all the cabinets in the break room. HVAC is set the units Monday. They're working on returns up in the attic yesterday and today. The fiber got installed Monday.
So they're gonna move in about a month? Is that what you're hoping?
That's what we're hoping, yeah. So we're probably gonna start painting tomorrow, the outside.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Been a motion and a second, or motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
The next one is going to be Mr. Sage DeLong's first appearance before us today.
I better stay for that.
Yeah. If anybody wants to film, it starts now. So, welcome, and what we're looking at is a continuation of the ASA plan that was approved earlier by the commission and still needs distribution. So go ahead.
Morning, Commissioners. Sage Long, Emergency Manager for Umatilla County. Before you today, the ASA Committee is recommending a 6-month extension of the franchise contracts to allow for the application process, which has been delayed due to the transition of the Emergency Manager, which created a delay in sending out the ASA application, which will require an extension due to the limited time frame. The ASA franchises would have to review entering fire season. This extension would allow for continuation service and of the current application timeline by 6 months to prevent a rush process or have it run into wildfire season.
Great presentation. Any questions?
Well, ASA is an acronym.
Ambulance Service Area.
Ambulance Service Area. My apologies, Commissioner.
My question is, have you been contacted by the ambulances or the areas? Are they kind of getting anxious or?
Yes, I've been contacted by Pendleton Fire along with Umatilla Fire. I'm still learning all the districts, but quite a few. And bringing this to their attention, they said that the time frame it would be really difficult to accomplish that within the month.
Has anybody?
Before the extension.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Timeline and stuff, okay.
Yes.
But with it, they're okay with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So has any of them asked for any modifications or for us to review any of the conditions?
No, none have asked for that. They've just asked that they can fill out the.
Okay, I'd like to get this done. Perfect, nice job, Sage. Any other questions or comments?
I move to extend ASA franchise agreement NTE 6 months and adopt order number BCC 2026-024.
Read that. BCC number.
BCC 2023, what did I say, 226?
Yeah.
BCC 2023-024.
Okay, I'll second that.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great job, Sage.
Thank you.
Doug would have caught it if I had though.
Safety action plan. That is back on me. What we're looking at is an ordinance as we apply for additional grants for the digital mapping and our TSP plan, both TSP plans. We're looking at Safe Streets, the grant funding source of Safe Streets in America. And Merchant McIntyre has asked us to supply this to go into the package of the grant application. And not only that, I really believe in what it says. So
Do you want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve adopt order number BCC 2023-027.
I have a question.
Sure.
Dan. So is this just the extension of your transportation town hall the other day or part of it?
It's part of it, yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to find money for that and then additional money for the expanded TSP East, TSP apostrophe S, because there's a traffic safety plan and a traffic solutions plan, or long-term plan.
I just want to say publicly that I went to Dan's transportation
It wasn't
town
mine,
hall.
it was
Well,
everybody's.
everybody's. And that was extremely impressive. From beginning to end, it was almost, like I said before, it was almost futuristic. And what they proposed, and I think it was amazing. So
Thank you.
second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Pendleton Children's Center.
I'll take
John,
Okay.
or Commissioner Shea.
So, the background on this, on November 9th of '22, we approved a grant from the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund to the Pendleton Children's Center in the amount of $250,000. With that, the grant was to be paid from two different tranches of money. The first $125,000 from the 22-23 funds, and the second $125,000 from the 23-24 allotment. The first portion has been paid, so there's still a remaining $125,000, and that is expected in October or November of this year. Due to the closure of the Child's Care Center, the Pendleton Children's Center has accelerated its expansion to accommodate additional children. The center is requesting $50,000 from the city of Pendleton. The city's the city actually did last night approve $25,000 at their council meeting last night. So the request is to have this fund matched by the county, utilizing $25,000 of the outstanding $125,000. So to the center, so that would be the request. And with that, I'd make a motion that we approve payment of $25,000 to the Pendleton Children's Center from Local Assistance and Travel Consistency Fund. At this time, with remaining $100,000 to be paid on receipt of the 23-24 funding. So we're not giving extra money, just delaying or getting the 25,000 now instead of waiting for it.
I have a question.
Okay.
Robert, do we have the money?
Yes.
Okay.
Then a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Commissioner comments?
You had that other added item too.
Oh, we do. Sorry, on my list, it just was one page back. Before commissioner comments, I'd like to ask approval for endorsement of the commissioners to endorse a action by the Umatilla County Fair Board to decline EOTech's request of the use of the facilities in the time frame identified in our contract with the city of Hermiston. The reason for that is they've asked for a concert, which is to happen exactly 1 week after our concert, and it's a cultural concert, the Hispanic concert on Hispanic Day at the fair. So it would be direct competition. We cannot stop the concert because that's a different agreement with Farm City Pro Rodeo, but we can limit the use of our facilities, and it's puts us in a dangerous situation. Even on that date, there will still be carnival equipment, vendor equipment. Our folks will still be putting the fair away. And to ask our volunteers to modify their tear down of the fair to accommodate something that is in direct competition with our fair, I don't think it's fair. So what I'm asking is a motion to approve an endorsement of the Umatilla County Fair Board's decision to decline the use of any of the facilities that are controlled by the Umatilla County Fair by contract.
So who's wanting to put the concert on?
A contractor through EOTech, so EOTech has to approve their contract. And so does Farm City. But that's a different issue that's may become an issue too, real quick.
So did you make the motion?
I did.
Then I'll second the motion.
Okay, thanks. Any questions? Because it is kind of a complicated issue, but Doug, is that pretty much how we need to table that?
Yes, basically the county is not in agreement to consent to the use of the premises for the planned event.
Got it. Thank you. Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Now, we've come to the end of this agenda, and time-wise, we may have set a new record.
Oh, no.
Close. Commissioner comments?
I have none.
None? Commissioner Timmons? The one thing, a comment I would like to make is I actually enjoy making sure the constituents come in and have discussions. I thought it was well presented by each of the folks. And whether it be the budget folks that came in and had discussions, I would always like to see more community members and constituents come to the meetings on any subject. So I just wanted to make that comment before we adjourn.
I do have a comment.
Okay.
Yesterday I was invited to a meeting and John invited me. And it did tuck in with CARES, and it was attended by county leaders in Umatilla County. And it's the first meeting I've ever been to where I was almost physically sick. And we have children that, we have a real issue with our children. We have 9-year-olds that are trying to kill themselves. And it's a real issue in our local healthcare facilities right now. they don't know how to handle it. We've got parents that don't know how to handle it. And it's not a one-time problem. I mean, it's a problem that has certainly risen to the top, and they held this special meeting. How are we gonna address this? And so probably one of the hardest things as a commissioner I've had to do so far is sit in that meeting. So anyway, I just wanted to say, you know, there's a lot of great things about being a commissioner, but there's some things that are pretty tough. And I certainly feel for our parents right now and individuals who are dealing with our young people that have got some real problems. And a lot of it post-pandemic was one of the factors that they mentioned, so. Just want to say, I certainly give my hats off to those people who are trying to work on this issue.
Thank you. I think those are great comments. Very good comments. Anything else?